Hi, in this video we're going to cover selling your Amazon business. So the first thing you want to do before actually going ahead with anything to do with selling your business is to ask yourself if you really want to sell it. And the reason I say this is because I've sold Amazon businesses before, and once you get the cash it's great, but the reality is if you try and take that cash and invest it somewhere else or put it somewhere else, you're not going to get the same kind of returns that you can on an Amazon business. Usually you get about 3 times, 4 times annual profit from Amazon as the valuation. We'll go into that in more detail in a minute. So let's say you make $50,000 every year. You're going to get somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000 for your business as a rough number. Now, if you've got $200,000, even if you put it into real estate, your own home, into the stock market, you're probably going to end up getting closer to 5% return. So maybe $5,000 to $10,000 every year. So your Amazon business is actually a cash cow. And yes, it takes up time. Yes, there's stress. Yes, there's management. But it's hard to actually get that kind of return somewhere else. So that's something to consider before actually moving ahead and selling it. What if you brought in a VA? What if you used half the profits to hire someone else to do the job for you, and then you could keep the business, the cash flow, the value, and keep growing it over time whilst also using the profits to do something else that you want to do as well. Just consider other options. If you have no profits, chances are your business is worth almost nothing. So that's key too. Okay, so next, valuation. So usually this is valued based on your net profit, and most people take a net profit per month value and use anywhere between 30, 35 to 50 times net profit per month. There's a lot of factors that affect this. Do all your sales come from just Amazon? Do you have Shopify too and your own website? Are you selling in one marketplace? Are you selling in multiple marketplaces? Do you have one product or many products? Obviously, if your money and your income's coming from retail, Shopify, Amazon, and you have 20 products across 3 different niches, it's a much more stable business than just selling one product on Amazon. And then is your product something that anyone can easily make, like a hairbrush, versus a branded product which is much more defensible and has some customer loyalty and base? So that also affects the valuation. So no one can give you the exact number off the top, but the simpler your business and the less protectable, the closer you're going to be to a 35 times monthly profit value. And then the more unique your business and the more diversified, the closer you're going to be to higher ranges of that valuation. And there's a lot of companies out there that have recently raised capital to buy Amazon businesses, so the numbers have gone up recently. The other thing to consider is that some people look at the net profit that you give them as the valuation, and others will count and exclude certain expenses to get to that net profit number. And what I mean is, maybe you're paying a VA to do some of your work, maybe you have some staff doing some of your work, and those come out of your expenses. Some people may or may not include those expenses when calculating the net profit, so it differs by buyer as well. So before selling, obviously you want to increase the value as much as possible. So you want to look at doing things to help increase your sales and increase the perceived value of the product. It can take 6 to 12 months to sell a business. So there's no reason why you can't use that to do some of the things that you've been putting off doing for a while. For example, some extra marketing, maybe creating a Shopify website for your products that's separate to your Amazon business. Maybe optimizing some of your sales and marketing processes so that it's documented as well, and we'll cover that in more detail in a minute. But basically, anything you can do to increase the top line is going to help your business, and similarly, anything you can do to reduce costs is going to help too. I'm not saying falsify your accounts so that your costs look much lower and so your net profit's higher, but what I mean is, if you're paying a full-time person $5,000 a month to manage your marketing, but really they're not doing that much, you can now look at ways to optimize that process and system. So maybe it's done by someone who's a contractor or a part-time. Maybe you're spending a lot of money for 10 different software tools. You can reduce that down to 1 or 2. Every $1,000 you reduce in monthly costs is basically $40,000, $50,000 in extra value for your business. So it's really worth looking at all your expenses and seeing where you can cut down costs without damaging the business, but just operationally be more efficient. And as part of that, you want to systematize and document all your processes. So, for example, your inventory reordering, your suppliers. You want to kind of create an internal company manual that covers everything that your business does. So when you do actually sell to someone, it's easy to hand over. But also, if you don't sell and keep it on, your staff can use these manuals and processes to run your business semi-automatically without you too. So it's really worth doing that. Then, as you're doing these different things in the background, you can also list for sale. And where should you list for sale? I would say reach out to the top 4 or 5 different brokers out there. I used a company called Empire Flippers before. They're good. It really depends on your size. If you're like sub 1 or 2 million, then someone like Empire Flippers is perfect for you. But also there's 2 or 3 brand new funds that have been raised for Amazon. So do a Google search and find out what the latest funds are. And there's no reason why you can't contact all of them, because you want the best price for your business. Some of them will try to get you into an exclusivity deal. I would wait to hear back from, all of the different people and see like a rough valuation, if you can, before signing an exclusivity deal to list your business. Get an idea of what people are saying it's worth. And also it comes down to, the person you're dealing with. Is your communication good? Do you trust them? Do they seem like a reputable company? I can't say for all the different brokers because I haven't used all the different brokers. I used Empire Flippers and they were good. And the process was pretty smooth. And they walked me through and they were there to answer any questions. Some of these new funds, their deal structure is very different. Some component of it is a buyout. A component of it is cash up front and some money later. So it really depends on your business as to what that's going to look like. So, finding a buyer. And once you've listed it, it can take several months before anyone actually makes an offer. Really depends on your business. If you've got a great business at a great valuation, you'll probably get offers faster. Especially if you're in a kind of established brand with several million in revenue, then there's going to be lots and lots of people at the moment who are interested in that to scale that further. There's a lot of capital looking for those kind of businesses. If you're more of a niche product, maybe smaller profits per month, it might take you longer to find a buyer because it has to be maybe an individual purchaser who's going to buy your particular business. And then even once you've found the buyer, then comes the negotiation. So some people want to pay you 50% of the value now, 50% next year, 80% now, 20% next year. It differs by buyer. So I find that you should be flexible in terms of, if you're getting more cash up front, then the value should be a little bit lower. If you're getting more cash further down the road, then push for a slightly higher valuation. Because what if they don't pay that amount? What if they don't hit the targets that they say they want to be able to give you that money? I've had friends who have sold businesses where they're promised 50% now, 50% later. They got the 50% now and never got the 50% later. I'm not saying that will happen. I personally had buyouts where 70% was paid up front and 30% was paid later, and everything went smoothly. So it really depends, but there's a risk, right, that you're not going to see that final payout, or it's going to be less than you expect if it's tied to certain targets. So make sure you clearly understand what are the terms and conditions for any payments that come later, and try to maximize how much cash you get up front and less further down the road. Even that means taking a hit slightly on the valuation, because then that way you've got the cash in hand if you're really planning on selling. Are you looking to grow your Amazon business? Zillionaire is the best Amazon metrics software. It has dozens of great features, including real-time profit and loss, inventory management, Amazon PPC ad optimization, custom dashboards, and much, much more. Head on over to zillionaire.com and sign up today. The link is in the description below.